Hey kids, we're back for week 3 in the Tucson Tackle Dummies League Yahoo Fantasy Football. Let's jump straight into your week 3 recap. We're going to start things off in the Toro division, the Battle of the Undefeated. It's a much anticipated matchup between two teams that have yet to lose going into week 3 action. And not living up to the hype this week as AZ Chargers defeated Mustache Discount 139.14 to 79.7. The much-typed meeting nearly became the biggest blowout of the week as AZ Chargers rolled over a banged-up and underperforming Mustache squad. The injury bug bit Mustache again as Kenny Britt at wide receiver is done for the season, meaning Mustache has now lost 4 players to season-ending injuries in just 3 weeks of play. Add that to the fact that the team has a banged-up quarterback in Tony Romo and a banged-up wide receiver in Dez Bryant, and you have yourself a walking MASH unit if you've ever seen one. Mustache had a team-high 12 points from Tavon Branch at defensive back, but Branch was the only player for Mustache's team to beat projections this week as the team posted their lowest score as a franchise since 2008 and the lowest score this team has ever posted in the IDP era. Meanwhile, AZ Chargers posted a game-high 25.65 from tight end Rob Gronkowski and got double-digit totals at running back from Willis McGahee and Joseph Adai. Throw in the dominant duo at linebacker Ray Lewis and Brian Urlacher, combining for 25 points this week, and AZ Chargers is in sole possession of first in the Toro division, heading into intra-division play. Meanwhile, in other Toro division action, the battle of the winless squads, Greek Thunderball and Viva Football, with Greek winning this one 111.58 to 102.85. One of the week's tightest matchups, pitted two winless teams against one another, with Greek emerging for his first win of the season and Viva still winless in fantasy football action after week 3. Neither team addressed lineup issues they've had since the draft, as the defenses on both squads were a complete mess. Greek got 11 points from the Pittsburgh defense, but started 3 inactive players and got 2 points total from his IDPs. Viva actually won the defensive battle, scoring just 14.5 points on that side of the ball, but Viva left a linebacker slot empty and got no points from the New York Jets defense. The offenses for both teams stepped up to compensate in a big way, propelling both teams to 100-plus scores this week. Greek had a game-high 24.55 from Detroit wide receiver Calvin Johnson to go with 13.95 from Detroit tight end Brandon Pettigrew. Viva answered with 16.25 from running back Felix Jones and 15 from kicker Neil Rackers. But Viva's 2 wide receivers, Reggie Wayne and Philly Steve Smith, combined for just 6.35 this week, and Arian Foster was again in the lineup for Viva. The injured running back did not play and probably proved to be the difference in this matchup. Moving over to the Cabs division, What the Shell defeated Angry Arthritis in a crucial division matchup early in the season, 194.4 to 168.23. The third highest score of the week wasn't enough for now 0-3 Arthritis to overcome Shell's record-setting score en route to a 3-0 start atop the Cabs division. Shell put up a game-high 30.25 at quarterback with Drew Brees and added 28.9 at running back with Ryan Matthews. Wide receiver Dwayne Bowe woke up with 13.7, and new-to-Shell wide receiver Stevie Johnson nabbed 18.4 in his debut for Shell. Arthritis kept pace with a team-high 23.35 from running back Fred Jackson and had 4 wide receivers combining for 60.2 points. The difference maker in this matchup was defense, though. Shell had 6 of 7 on defense, beating projections with 5 in double digits for a total of 67 points on that side of the ball. Arthritis had 16.5 from linebacker Pat Angerer, but got only 22 more points from the other 5 starters on the defensive side, allowing Shell to put away Arthritis for good. And in the other Cabs matchup, Wildcats defeated Raging Boners 147.71 to 119.19. A strong performance from Wildcats this week keeps him just a game back of Cab division leader Shell after knocking off the underperforming Boners. Wildcats had a game-high 27.02 from Matt Schaub at quarterback, with 8 more players across the squad topping projections, and that doesn't include running back Adrian Peterson and his measly 16.7 this week, as Yahoo had projected him 18-plus this week. Boners had 31.15 from Ahmad Bradshaw and Mark Ingram at running back, combined for the 31.15, but had just 3.25 from wide receiver Hakeem Nicks, 0.35 from wide receiver Jacoby Jones, and just a single point from tight end Jeff King. Boners did keep things interesting on defense by scoring 15 with the San Francisco defense and 10 with defensive back Devin McCourty, but 4 defensive starters had 3 points or less, while Wildcats had each defensive starter score at least 5 points for a consistent winning effort this week. Moving over to the Aztec division, Mojo Jojo knocked off Navajos 126.48 to 120.96, a 36.5-point effort from 4 players on Monday night. Still wasn't enough for Navajos in this week's closest matchup, as Mojo hangs on for a less than 6-point victory this week. Quarterback Aaron Rodgers led the way for Mojo with a game-high 24.58, while flex wide receivers Plaxico Burress and Julio Jones combined for 24.35, helping to overcome a 0 from Brandon LaFell and a 0.15 from running back James Starks for Mojo. Navajos had a team-high 20.23 from quarterback Jay Cutler and 4 more on offense above projections, but just 2 of those players reached double digits. Navajos added 12 from linebacker Sean Lee on defense, but was countered by Mojo's 13.5 at defensive lineman with Jared Allen. And the Amazons knocked off White Powerade 150.47 to 110.29. Even with starting injured running back Peyton Hillis, Amazons still had half the team beat projections en route to a decisive victory over an underachieving Powerade. Amazons had a game-high 30.55 from running back Darren McFadden and 24.62 at quarterback with Matthew Stafford. Debuting wide receiver Sidney Rice doubled projections to help Amazon overcome a 0.85 from fellow wide receiver Jerome Simpson. Powerade had a surprising team-high 22.65 out of running back Ladini and Tomlinson, and then 14.6 more points at that position with Brandon Jacobs. But the injured Michael Vick underperformed at quarterback, scoring just 9.94, and flex options Deion Branch and BenJarvis Green-Ellis, both of the New England Patriots, combined for just 1.6 points this week, all of those points coming from the law firm. Amazon's added 15.5 on defense from her 2 defensive linemen and 10 from the Green Bay defense, all needed to cover the fact that Darrell Revis at defensive back scored no points. Powerade had 10 from Troy Polamalu, but his San Diego defense missed projections by more than 7 points in what was supposed to be a favorable matchup against Kansas City this week. And moving over to the Wildcat division, Inglorious Bear Jew knocked off Big Ben's Revenge 160.46 to 100.57. Big Ben barely eclipsed 100 this week in the week's biggest blowout, losing to Bear Jew for the first time since 2009. Half of Bear Jew's squad beat projections, led by unlikely fantasy hero Ryan Fitzpatrick with 22.51 at quarterback. Running back LaShawn McCoy had 20.85, and tight end Jimmy Graham added 17, while late pickup this week Montario Hardesty picked up 9.35, a respectable score, filling in at running back for the Cleveland Browns this week. These impressive scores helped to make up for a terrible week out of Rashard Mendenhall at running back. Mendenhall had just 5.35 against the notoriously bad Indianapolis Colts run defense this week. Big Ben had a team-high 21.65 from wide receiver Mike Wallace and 17.2 from wide receiver Nate Washington, who benefited from the Kenny Britt injury this week. But quarterback continued to be a major concern for Big Ben, with Kerry Collins managing just 4.37 this week, while running back Michael Turner had a weak 2 points, and Mike Tolbert had a low 5.05. Bear Jew put the game on ice this week with a surprising 12 points from defensive lineman Jason Pierre-Paul and 14 points from linebacker Lance Briggs, while Big Ben had just 1 defensive player beat projections and none in double digits. And in the final matchup of the week, and a record-setting one at that, Lombardi's Ghost knocked off Championship Cheese 191.79 to 134.8. Lombardi sets a franchise scoring record on his way to an important division win over Cheese heading into interdivision play. Lombardi set an all-time high at wide receiver, all-time meaning the entire league, with 39.6 points from wide receiver Wes Welker, while his handcuffed quarterback Tom Brady added 29.48. Then Lombardi proceeded to take the tight end scoring record as well, with 28.25 from Jermichael Finley. And just to show that they could share the wealth, running back Darren Sproles chipped in with 18.16. Cheese had a team-high 19.95 from running back Daniel Thomas and 17.65 from fellow running back Ray Rice, but Rice was actually short of projections this week, as well as quarterback Kevin Cobb, wide receiver Deshaun Jackson, and both flex starters for Cheese, Ted Ginn and Eric Decker. Kicker Jason Hansen, though, was a bright spot for Cheese with 17 points at that position this week. But over on the defensive side of the ball, Lombardi played the matchups and hit it big as the Cincinnati defense netted 15 points this week, and defensive linemen Julius Peppers and Chris Clemens combined for 12.5. Cheese got 11 from waiver wire pickup Cam Chancellor this week, but all other defensive players fell short of projections. Looking ahead to Week 4 action, we're going to be looking at, looks like, interdivision play will begin with Cavs and Aztec teams facing off. 3-0 Shell will meet longtime fantasy football rival Mojo for the first time in this league. 2-1 Amazons will meet 2-1 Wildcats. 2-1 Navajos will take on Raging Boners. And winless teams Angry Arthritis and White Powerade will face off in the battle 0-3 squads. And the other pairing will have the Wildcat teams taking on the Toro teams, starting things off with 3-0 AZ Chargers taking on 2-1 Lombardi's Ghost. 2-1 Bearju will get winless Viva Football. 2-1 Mustache will meet 1-2 Cheese in a battle of two of the three original league members. And 1-2 Big Ben will meet 1-2 Greek Thunder. So we'll be looking forward to next week as the divisions will mix things up, and we should see some interesting matchups as bye weeks are also approaching in the Fantasy Football League. So I hope to see you back next week for the Week 4 recap. Until then, best of luck.